It's not easy to make it in Hollywood. It takes years of grueling hard work, or sometimes it's the luck of the draw, inexperienced actors being spotted on the street, or even landing their very first audition. You never really know who will shine and who won't. However, among these actors are some of the most difficult and unlikable people you can work with, some that you may not even know about. So today on Top 10 Beyond the Screen, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 10 actors no one wants to work with. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. In at 10, Edward Norton. Edward Norton is partially responsible for destroying the Incredible Hulk, and that is no small feat. It's difficult to make a superhero movie bad. Just look at the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, Norton managed to do this with his version of the Incredible Hulk, which he insisted he rewrite and had fights with producers of the film's running time. The feud became very public in Hollywood, and Universal's Adam Fogelson was forced to plan a promotional tour that would avoid awkward media attention and interviews. After all the stress, the movie ended up being a flop regardless, and ever since, Edward Norton has never had a good standing in Hollywood, with most actors wanting to avoid working with him at all costs, because you never know what film he's going to try and rewrite. In at 9, Mel Gibson. It has been over 10 years now since Mel Gibson's infamous DUI arrest, which led to the release of his anti-Semitic rant. However, though time has passed, the incident still remains at the forefront in the actor's life, with it directly impacting his career as an actor and as a director. 2016's Hacksaw Ridge was his first successful large-scale movie in a very long time. However, the actor/director does have some projects currently in the works, including a sequel to The Passion of the Christ. Yeah, those are words I never thought I would say. Shane Black, the writer and director of The Nice Guys and the writer of Lethal Weapon, chimed in on the Mel Gibson scandal, stating, "I think he's essentially been blacklisted in the industry. I think people don't want to work with him." While some have come forward to defend the actor, suggesting we give him a second chance, others aren't as forgiving, including the author of Starstruck, The Business of Celebrity, who said the situation is not the same thing as forgiving Lindsay Lohan for partying too late. Anti-Semitism is not just behaving badly. Preach. Coming in at 8, Lindsay Lohan. As a child star, Lindsay Lohan had a hugely successful acting career, appearing in works such as Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, and of course, The Parent Trap. However, as she got older and fell into drugs and alcohol, the media was abuzz with several public arrests and rehab stints. Her behavior ultimately got her kicked off of various sets and fired from a number of different movies, and then of course she failed to launch her own reality TV show. Her career trajectory would also lead her to starring in one of the worst and strangest movies of 2013, The Canyons, which no one should ever set their eyes upon. All in all, Lohan is not someone you'd be investing your money in, forcing some actors to steer away from the once shining star. Coming in at 7, Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman is one of the most prolific actors in Hollywood, and one of the most legendary, appearing in works such as Tootsie, Rain Man, Midnight Cowboy, and The Graduate, even nabbing 2 Oscar wins along the way. Now, our list is primarily comprised of actors presumed to be difficult to work with. This is one of the only cases where the actor actually doesn't mind their reputation, and if anything, enjoys it. Hoffman throughout his career has been known to be somewhat of a tough guy, and incredibly difficult to work with simply because he wants everything to be perfect, in turn insisting on redoing takes multiple times. In between his huge roles, he successfully managed to garner a reputation for being a grueling actor, and it is well known that director Sidney Pollack would shout at him repeatedly because of it. In at 6, Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl has always had a negative reputation in Hollywood for as long as she's been around, quite literally. She quickly earned herself the reputation of being awful, with Grey's Anatomy creator Shonda Rhimes turning Katherine's name into an adjective when describing her show Scandal. I quote, "There are no Heigls in this situation." However, Heigl clapped back, saying, "I would never go out my way or consciously try to hurt anyone's feelings or make them feel bad or uncomfortable or not being professional. Do my job. I like my job. All I can say to that is, sure, Dan." After starring in the movie Knocked Up, the star went on to make negative remarks about the movie and its portrayal of women, which as we know is not the way to make friends in the industry. Coming in at 5, Russell Crowe. This Oscar winner can nab any role he chooses seemingly, starring in works such as Gladiator, Les Miserables, even though he can't sing, A Beautiful Mind, LA Confidential, The Nice Guys, and Boy Erased, the latter being absolutely incredible with the star shining through. However, his behavior off-screen has affected things ever so slightly. In 1999, he got into a fight at the Planet Plantation Hotel in Coffs Harbour, and years later, he yelled at a producer at the British Academy Film Awards. Not to mention, he was also arrested and accused of throwing a phone at a hotel employee before going on to start a weird feud with one of Hollywood's leading men, George Clooney. All in all, most actors either don't want to work with him or outright refuse. In at 4, January Jones. January Jones, best known for playing Betty Draper on the hit AMC series Mad Men, has been nominated for 2 Golden Globes and an Emmy. She is a fantastic actress, there's no doubt about that, with her appearing in other works such as The Last Man on Earth, X-Men First Class, Spinning Out, and Unknown. However, she is also known for being cold, with an unpleasant temperament. Well, at least that's how her co-stars have been describing her. It was also once said that January Jones was the one person you would never want to approach while on the set of Mad Men. According to comedian Zach Galifianakis, he claimed the star was incredibly rude to him during an encounter. However, Jones has responded to these claims, stating that she feeds off of the negativity that comes her way as a form of motivation to do better. I mean, some people say I'm cold, so retweet. In at 3, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase has had a long-running comedy career, however it has finally begun to take a downward turn due to his terrible behaviour. The actor first built up his reputation on Saturday Night Live, however, even back then he was well known for being rude and antagonistic towards certain cast members, to the point that when he eventually left SNL, nobody really cared. Chase was of course a regular on the comedy show Community, but then he went on to openly diss it, stating, "It's just a mediocre sitcom. I want people to laugh, and this isn't funny." This in turn led to him having a very public feud with the show's creator Dan Harmon. Chase began refusing to be in certain episodes, and the actor went on to leave Harmon incredibly angry voicemails, which of course leaked to the public. Harmon was surprisingly the one fired, however he was brought back when Chase left the show. God bless. Coming in at number 2, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow has had quite the career spanning over the last 2 decades, well technically 3 now. She's appeared in works such as Seven, Shakespeare in Love, for which she won an Oscar, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Royal Tenenbaums, and of course she plays Pepper Potts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All that being said, she also has a terrible reputation on and off the screen. It has been said by countless people that Paltrow is not an enjoyable person to work with or even be around due to her coldness and demands as an actress. Most of this seems to stem from her apparent unpleasantness, which is why she was voted the most stuck-up actress in Movie Line magazine back in 1998. That being said, she hasn't failed to find work as of yet, but I would love to know how her co-stars are feeling. Probably not great. And finally in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf. This should really come as no surprise. Anyone who has seen Transformers or even heard about the movie knows of Shia LaBeouf. Outside of his Disney days starring in Even Stevens, it was Transformers that shot the actor to superstardom. He would go on to appear in works such as Fury, The Peanut Butter Falcon, Honey Boy, Lawless, and Disturbia, as well as the one movie we really hate to discuss, Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. However, in recent years, Shia has been known to be a challenge on and off set, specifically revolving around his strange method acting approach, often leading to run-ins with his fellow co-stars. There are even stories of the actor being involved in physical fights on set, especially on the set of Lawless, where he supposedly punched Tom Hardy, as well as on the set of Fury. Not to mention he had a very public feud with Alec Baldwin, whom he had done a Broadway play with, which led to the actor being fired. Coming in at 10, Daniel Day-Lewis. Now at this time, Daniel Day-Lewis has since retired from acting, but never say never, he may still come back. The Oscar-winning actor was notorious for his method acting, which certainly paid off throughout his illustrious career. However, method acting doesn't always rub people the right way. During the filming of My Left Foot, Day-Lewis refused to leave his wheelchair while playing his paralyzed character, in turn forcing crew members to carry him around set. Yikes. Not to mention, while filming There Will Be Blood, he also threw bowling balls at co-star Paul Dano for one scene. This occurred after Kel O'Neill, who was originally cast in Dano's part, left production, allegedly because Day-Lewis was too intense while filming. He has a handful of Oscars though, so do what you gotta do. In at 9, Casey Affleck. A couple years back, 2 women sued Casey Affleck while working on I'm Still Here. They both alleged that Casey sexually harassed them and went on to retaliate against them. One producer even claimed that he tried to get her to stay in a hotel room with him and then refused to pay her. The DOP of the film also went on to claim that he tried to get into bed with her while she was sleeping. However, both lawsuits were eventually settled. The incident has still left a sour taste in people's mouths though. We all remember when he won the Oscar for Manchester by the Sea and Brie Larson refused to clap. Much respect for my queen. In at 8, Shannen Doherty. Shannen Doherty was a 90s breakout star appearing in the teen drama Beverly Hills 90210. However, she very quickly earned a reputation for being a difficult actress to work with. According to her 90210 co-star Jason Priestley, the actress supposedly didn't give a even once complaining when a publicist had a town car pick her up instead of a limousine. However, producer of 90210, Aaron Spelling, characterized her in a more sympathetic light by stating that she is a very honest person who wears her emotions on her sleeve. If you ask her a direct question, she'll give you a direct answer. However, that fact aside, she was still fired from 2 shows, 90210 and Charmed. Not a good look. It was for the best that she was fired from Charmed. Rose McGowan was always better, and we know it. Coming in at number 7, Sean Young. You may not know her name, but you definitely know who she is. Sean Young rose to fame when she starred in the 80s mega hit Blade Runner. However, what ultimately ended her career was her behavior off camera, according to some reports. Actor James Woods claims she harassed him by leaving disfigured dolls outside of his home, resulting in him suing her. She also slapped a security guard who threw her out of a party for not having a ticket, according to The Guardian. Coming in at 6, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is yet another actor on our list with an absolutely terrible reputation in Hollywood, specifically down to his on-set antics. He was fired by Richard Stanley from the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau after just 3 days of filming. This was in turn due to him fighting with people on set. Batman Forever director Joel Schumacher also reportedly called him childish and impossible, and this could possibly be why we no longer see him pop up in movies anymore. That, and because he can't act for shit. He also has a horrible face. Coming in at 5, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is renowned for being difficult to work with, particularly while working on the set of 2.5 Men. In a letter to Sheen's lawyer, Warner Bros. Counsel described the troubled actor as having, I quote, a series of well-chronicled and increasingly erratic outbursts. Warner Bros. Also went on to note that Sheen missed rehearsals frequently and directed inflammatory comments towards show creator Chuck Lorre. Ultimately, Sheen was fired from the show and replaced by Ashton Kutcher for the show's final 4 seasons. However, Sheen later went on to tell Matt Lauer that he regrets ruining 2.5 Men. I mean, he didn't really ruin it, the show was a piece of to start with, so. Coming in at number 4, Lea Michele. This is no big surprise. It was globally known that Lea Michele was quite the diva while shooting the widely popular Fox show Glee back in the day. Her former co-star Naya Rivera wrote a book where she described the time the actress kept threatening to call SAG about the unsafe work conditions. However, Michele fired back at these claims, stating, "So I guess you can throw a bitch fit, lock yourself in your trailer, stall production, yet still allegedly find time to leak stories to the press." Michele then went on to work on the show Scream Queens, which was ultimately cancelled. However, during production she supposedly told Ryan Murphy that she would record just 2 screams and that they could use those throughout the entire show because she was a singer and couldn't possibly scream more than that. Coming in at 3, Sharon Stone. According to director of Golden Boy Pupi Avati, Sharon Stone made some questionable comments towards him and an entire country, not to mention made some ridiculous requests. According to the director, she acted as if Italy was a third world country, even asking if they had electricity. Yes, they do. He also went on to claim that Stone would leave the set unannounced and have her manager call them with demands. However, the actress has denied these claims. Coming in at number 2, Steven Seagal. At this point in time, most people have forgotten Steven Seagal even existed, with his career devolving into direct-to-video releases. However, that's not such a bad thing, considering Seagal has an absolutely terrible reputation that has made folks steer clear from him in Hollywood. There are dozens of rumors of the actor physically abusing workers and actors on set, and according to one report, even kicking someone in the groin when they weren't even wearing a cup. Actor John Leguizamo discussed working with the actor, stating, "I'm playing his master sergeant and we come in for rehearsals and he says, I'm in command, everything I say is law. Anybody doesn't agree?" I was like, bah ha 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 ha. I started cracking up because he sounded like an R word. He came up and he taekwondo'd my ass against the brick and he hit me with his elbow. He's 6'5" and he caught me off guard and knocked all of the air out of me, and I was like, why? Why? I really wanted to say how big and fat he was and that he runs like a girl, but I didn't because all I could say was why. Why'd he slam me against the wall? We were rehearsing. And finally, coming in at number 1, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis being at number 1 may surprise a few of you, however this star has had a reputation for being horrible to work with for many years now. Director Kevin Smith stated that his experience working with Willis on the film Cop Out was soul-crushing. At the wrap party, Smith said, I quote, "I want to thank everyone who worked on the film, except for Bruce Willis, who was a f***ing dick." However, this wasn't the only incident involving Willis. He was notoriously dropped from the 3rd Expendables movie for asking for too much money, which in turn caused Sylvester Stallone to tweet out, "Greedy and lazy, a sure formula for career failure."
Kicking off this countdown at number 10 is Jared Leto. No one can deny that he fully embraced his character as the Joker in Suicide Squad. But how far can one go and still get away with calling it method acting? Reports from the movie set claim that the actor never broke his character even when the camera stopped rolling, which sounds like a really committed actor to his craft, but his co-stars revealed that he took things just a little too far and started mailing adult toys to their trailers. He even sent Margot Robbie a dead rat. Not like a toy one, like an actual dead rat. So you could chalk this up and call it method acting, but the rest of the cast and crew said he was just difficult to deal with. Next up at number 9 is Julia Roberts. She's been called Hollywood's sweetheart who captivated the hearts of many people through her different characters, but don't be fooled, it turns out she might not be as sweet as we think. Despite the fact that she has played the girl with a heart of gold in movies like Pretty Woman, you might be surprised to hear that the nice girl image is really just an image. According to her co-star Nick Nolte, who filmed I Love Trouble with her, they had to film their scenes separately because they disliked each other so much. They actually used stand-ins when doing the close-up dialogue shots. Nick spoke about what it was like to work with her and said, "She's not a nice person. Everyone knows that." Does everyone know that though? Because I didn't. But the feeling was mutual apparently. She didn't enjoy working with him either. However, I did some research and this is not the only time someone said she's hard to work with. Sightings number 8 is Liam Neeson. We all know he's a total badass in movies, but what is he like in real life? It will all depend on who you ask. There have been reports made about his strong-headed attitude and ego that can be difficult to work with alongside while filming. It also doesn't help that he's made some incredibly insensitive comments throughout the years, some being completely inappropriate and racist. In 2019, he admitted that he wanted to commit violent acts against black men because he was wanting revenge for a friend of his who was raped by a man of color. Of course, the world immediately called him a racist for trying to categorize the personal incident into a race issue. It is not the first time that he's put his foot in his mouth either, and I can understand why some people just wouldn't want to work with him after controversies like that one. That's pretty bad, my friend. Making our way to number 7, we have Wesley Snipes. While he was filming Blade Trinity, reports say he was showing all different sorts of bad behavior. Apparently, he was showing up to set high and would spend all of his downtime hiding out in his trailer smoking up. He started feuding with the director, David Goyer, to a point where things got physical and he tried to choke him. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than trying to choke someone out. After the physical altercation, they both agreed to continue and finish the movie, but Snipes would only communicate with David and the rest of the production crew through post-it notes, because that is the mature adult thing that everyone should do. I wish I could respond with post-it notes when I'm mad at someone. After the film was wrapped, the actor sued the studio for $5 million, claiming that the director and cast harassed him because of his race. However, his claims did not last long and the lawsuit got settled outside of court. In spot number 6 is Sarah Jessica Parker. Rumors started flying that the actress wasn't the sweet and bubbly girl fans were convinced she was after her Sex and the City co-star shared what it's really like to work with her. But the feud between Sarah and Kim Cattrall has been going on for years. It's kinda hard to know which side of the story is really true. Some say it all started after Sarah was given an executive producer title in the second season, which bumped her salary up to $300,000 at the time. Kim refused to do the next Sex and the City movie back in 2017 because she literally wanted nothing to do with her co-star. Then in 2018, Kim's brother passed away and Sarah wrote her condolences on her Instagram post. However, Kim wrote a public announcement in response saying, "Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now. You are not my family, you are not my friend, so I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy in order to restore your nice girl persona." Damn, she did not hold back with that one. Halfway through at number 5 is Mike Myers. I have shared one of his stories a few times on this channel after I learned about his ridiculous demands while filming The Cat in the Hat. One of his castmates from the movie described working with him as, I quote, "a nightmarish, horrible experience." She claimed that he covered the area around his trailer with tents because he didn't want anyone to see him. She also said he would keep everyone waiting hours when it was time to film a scene because he didn't actually follow the production schedule. He just kinda did his own thing on his own terms. One thing his co-star Amy Hill and the director both revealed was that he actually had an assistant follow him around with a Tupperware of chocolate, and he would feed him whenever he wanted them. We've made it to number 4 and we have Kirk Cameron. Everyone loved the 80s sitcom Growing Pains, where the actor played the dreamy teenager Mike Seaver. But as the series went on, the actor became deeply religious and started causing some issues on set. Apparently in the later seasons, he spent the majority of his time judging his other co-stars for what he felt was immoral behavior based on his own views. He even requested script revisions to fit his religious belief. He wanted rewrites to some of the scenes and actually refused to do them if not. It was reported that his religion actually led to one of his co-stars, Julie McCulloch being fired. She played his girlfriend on the series and once appeared nude in Playboy, so he demanded that ABC fire her when he found out. She was actually fired and they rewrote the whole plot. Their characters were actually supposed to get married, so they basically had to change the whole thing. In the third spot is Christian Bale, because his on-set rant has gone down in history and there's no way I cannot share the story again. If you haven't heard about this epic freakout moment, the actor went nuts on a lighting crew member while filming Terminator Salvation, and the whole thing was caught on tape. The crew member ruined the scene that Bale was filming because he stepped into frame to check one of the lights. The actor started cursing at him, threatening to kick his ass, and he said he actually wanted him fired from the set. He told the director he would not continue the movie if that crew member was still working on the film. The poor guy in the audio kept trying to apologize to him, but Bale was just not having it. He basically yelled at him for like 5 minutes straight. Now, he did release an apology after that, but I am just sure that it scared off a lot of people from wanting to work with him. Taking over the number 2 spot is Constance Wu. She skyrocketed to success after starring in Crazy Rich Asians, but with that success came a negative reputation because she couldn't keep her mouth shut online. On more than one occasion, she's ranted on Twitter in an ungracious way, and most recently has been titled a diva for her time on set while filming Hustlers. A source from the set came forward and said, "She refuses to do interviews, she won't have visitors on her sets, it's like a cliche, she's very talented but all signs are pointing to a difficult diva." It was also reported that she was rude to crew members and disrespectful to the property that the production team rented her in New York City. However, the actress will defend herself and continues to say that these claims are not true. We've made it to number 1 and we have Joaquin Phoenix. No one can take his recent Oscar award away from him. He definitely deserved it for his role as the Joker in the new movie. But in his acceptance speech, he admitted himself that he is not the easiest person to work with at times. There's been multiple reports made of examples where he was difficult, but some of his behavior actually cost him movie roles. One source said, "Getting him to sign on the dotted line is a nightmare. He'll drag out the salary negotiation for months, which holds up production and costs the studios more money in the end." Apparently, it cost him the role of the Joker in Suicide Squad and a leading part in Marvel's Doctor Strange. But despite his crappy behavior, he's first to admit it, and he's also wildly talented, so I think people would still work with him even if they genuinely didn't want to. Alright guys, that is our part 3 list of this series. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking and fire a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. For now, I'm gonna handpick some comments and respond to them. Alexis MC says, "Look, it's Jocelyn the Pickle Queen." There's no pickle emoji. Honestly, I'm still very upset there's no pickle emoji. I am waiting for that day. Emma Powell says, "You are one of my favorite hosts. Please mention me in the next video." I'm one of them? I'm not just your one favorite? No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Here's your shout out. Johnson Nyrenda says, "Do you tan, Joss?" Yes, what you all commented on and made point of was that I had a spray tan on. Yeah, I'm not that pale, but I'm pretty white. Theme Nestorella says, "Joss loves chatting with everyone except me. Hashtag Joss hates me." False. Not true. You are starting rumors. I just can't answer everyone's comments, but I'm trying. Michon1374 says, "Bottom line, don't lie. Someone is always watching and recording." Fact. In 2020, everyone has a phone. Be careful what you're doing out there. You might end up on the internet. On that note, I'm getting out of here. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. You can also ring the notification bell to hang out with us every day. But for now, I say you just stick around for these bloopers. You like these moves? Professional. All those dance classes paid off that my parents paid for. My dad invested into this. I'm literally out of breath. All that dancing. Hold on! I was dancing too hard in the beginning. Chris, feed me my chocolate!